So these babies, these kindergarten teachers, these babies to turn to learners and students. So actually kindergarten years, we have to teach them and shape them how to sustain it. They can stay in their seat without walking around. And then following, teachers speaking and their receptive language is not that great. And then they see other children and they follow what they do. So basically those basic maturity, because think about that, for 5 years, they may have at home, they are the only child and then more adults. They are just one of two children and adults. So it's like a one-to-one, right? Two adults, let's say 2 adults and 2 children. So most of the children mostly having parents' attention is greatly like at least like a 100% attention, 80% attention, those attention they had. So wherever they go, their parents always watched them. Whatever they say, parents listen to them, right? And then they share with the parents. Then they come to school, suddenly there are 20 children, 30 children, and 1 adult. 20, 30 children with 1 adult. So they split teacher's attention. Before, they didn't have to talk because parents already knew it. They show sign, parents already knew it, right? So many times, especially the autism, ASD children, parents are more attentive because they cannot fully communicate what they need through behaviors or through verbally or just behaviorally, they could not do it. So parents are always very proactive. So it's very good. However, the problem is they never had a chance to practice how properly communicate with the adults. And then they come to school and then teacher has multiple children. ASD classrooms has the most least number of students among special education classrooms. So still they split teachers' attentions. So teacher may not know proactively what child needs. So that's how behavior starts, and then they started having behavioral communication. So remember, when you teach in schools, and even though you are elementary majors or secondary major, elementary double majors or secondary minors, and sometimes many of you, after teaching in special education for a while, and then you just want to teach more communicable children, and then many teachers move to general education for a while, and then they come back refreshed, and then they come back to special education. Anyway, you are very powerful teachers because you have a certification, teaching certification in elementary or in secondary. So whenever you want to teach in elementary school and elementary classrooms, or you're just a secondary, your major classrooms, and you can do it, and they will love you because you have special education, teaching endorsements. Okay, so you are very marketable, you know that, and then some of you are even doing double special education endorsement. Wow. And then that means you have a 3 teaching certification to teach. So you are very powerful people, and job is waiting for you to come out, finish it successfully and come out. Okay, this literacy, you did only teaching part. Okay, no, attention about the cognitive part, you did only attention, and then you did literacy and numeracy, data collections you did. Okay, so you're gonna make instructions about it, how to shape their problems. And as I said, I believe LD, I'm not sure they cover this much, but for CI majors, if they have me, and then they're gonna have learn about this literacy part very thoroughly. And Other ASD, I don't think so. And we call it early literacy. Early literacy is a learn to read. Okay, learn to read. And I explained that previously. These are the law. NCLB law said what is the scope of reading? What areas students do not master, and then they will have great difficulties in literacy. These are the 5 areas that big humongous research did. It's by federal government, federal fund. So basically phonological awareness, this is our toddler age 18, toddlers, 3 years older. So they understand about this sound and then phonemic awareness, those individual sound combinations. We teach using phonics, these skills, and then they blend. I'm going to explain this one a little bit later. And then vocabulary is very important. It is about the language skills. It's directly connected to comprehension and then fluency. Even though child learn to read through phonics, still and man, it's very hard for them to get that comprehension. It impact every single one sentence they read, and then it seems like they have a stuttering deficit, stuttering issues. So if they learn to read through phonics, and then in the beginning, until they can have a fluency, their reading is like a stuttering reading. Okay, it's not speaking, even though stuttering is a speaking, but reading, they could do that. Okay, so we have to make sure they fluently sound it out and blending out. And this all impact comprehension. So remember this, even though they learn to read, however, they cannot read to learn, learn to read, and then read to learn. So read to learn means they read text, and then they comprehend, and then they learn, right? Think about that. If I know, some of you are not that great nonfiction reading. Me either. I could not read that many, newspaper columns at the time. We had the paper newspapers. I could love to read fictions, and then I'm fiction girls, and then my dream was I be just novelist, writer. However, nonfiction was very hard for me. It's not because I don't understand, but I could not process exactly because it requires a lot of background knowledge. So science, let's say if I read a physics book, can I process? I don't think so. Even though my son, my oldest one, is a physics major, I just owed him how he could do physics. So if I read a biology book, I could not. I wanted to be a doctor when I was young, and then I found out that from middle school, my science is really, So I just gave up because I read the textbook. I could not process. It's not because of vocabulary. So I just don't know what this book talked about. So that is all about the comprehension. So you guys have a certain areas you cannot process. So even though you could read English, right? And then you meet some vocabulary so you don't know, and then you could still search, Google that words these days. However, still just like you cannot make that many. If you read a novel, so you could 1 hour reading, you could make about 20, 30, 40 pages. However, you read this kind of a book, non-favorite books, and then you barely read 1 page or 2 pages in 30 minutes. So that's what comprehension means. So our children will be saying, they read, learn to read, still, they could not read to learn, and then comprehension is not there. It's very important. So comprehension here, right? Many people believe, many teachers believe comprehension starts from literacy, early literacy. So they read, and then we start the comprehension. No, comprehension is a newborn baby time. That's why I put comprehension here. In the beginning, it's all sensory comprehension, right? Still, we have some part, we have a sensory level comprehensions. However, all these children, newborn babies, first time they hear is a doctor's auditory one. Of course, they don't understand. I told you just they repeatedly hear over and over and over, and then it get used to it, and then they learn it. And then that unpleasant sound, that's a vacuum sound. That unpleasant sound, that's a choo-choo train sound. I love train. However, passing train by your house, it is very loud. So they learn it. It's all comprehension, right? And then they read someday, okay, a train passing, and then, John closed his ears, and then they understand because it didn't talk about what train make what sound. However, the story said John closed his ears. So they know, yeah, train is very loud. So we have to stop ears. So that's a comprehension. Okay, so very young age, and then certain age like a preschool, and then kindergarten classroom, because as I said the last time, there is no way you can see every single whole world existing object and phenomena in real one. So we use books. So we use picture books, and then we use this flashcard like this. This kind of flashcard we use, and we intentionally teach them what? Vocabularies. This is a picture vocabularies. Later, once they started learning to read written language, and then what do? We can match it, right? We match it. So we have a fish here, and then I don't have a fish picture. Can't believe this. Let's say, what's this? And then he say, watch. Yes, it's a watch. These days, we barely wear watch, right? However, and then later we're gonna connect these two. So this is a written language. This is a watch. So children already know this watch, right? Are you looking? I'm doing see and tell, show and tell. So they see watch later from the kindergarten if parents don't teach them reading that early age, and then we are matching this written language and then real items, right? This is what kindergarten classroom do. So everything, what's this? French fries. And then we show, what is this? French fries. So we matching in the beginning. This is what do we call this? Whole word method, not phonics. So anyway, that's what we do. That's a comprehension. We move on from the beginning and then move on. And then later on, this comprehension requires a higher order cognition. So more life experiences. And then those parts you cannot have a life experiences. And then you read. So you have more, experiences through the books, through real life. And then it encourage your, provoke your thinking. It impact help your comprehension. So these are the all, and then later on, so problem solving, resolution, new ideas and programs, it's all comprehension you use in the real life. So here I said learn to read and then read to learn. So this learn to read is a basic K-2 education and special education teachers. When you teach, pretty much, sadly, you're gonna work on this, learn to read. Most of special education students are failed in here, okay? I know, you teach IQ, intellectual disability, IQ 40 to below level in center-based program, special schools. or young adult programs, still you believe you're not going to teach any kind of language related ones. However, still you teach these levels. Regardless, they are high schoolers, middle schoolers, many of students, our high instance disabilities, pretty much they failed here in their beginning school years, a couple of school years, they failed to learn to read. So they could not move on to read to learn this stage. That's what our children failed, and you guys are getting training to teach these children. Okay, so that's one. So pretty much what is teaching? What do we teach in read to learn? How can we teach read to learn? We have only two methods. It's good. Only two methods. And many kindergarten teachers and first grade teachers failed in this. So those failed children come to you guys. And then you guys have to teach NCSD majors. It's the same because your speech, especially this phonics teaching, is really, really helpful for articulation, speech articulation. It's very helpful, especially the children with disabilities. So from young age, this is only not teaching major things, okay? So there are, trust your professors, so why you take this class, you're not gonna be a teacher. Even though this flashcard, the whole word method, is like you see, show, and then jam, show, watch, show, spaghetti, park, chair, right? When teachers teach this to young children, let's say toddlers, or even younger than toddlers, as I did to my son, their pronunciation is very, very articulated. It's no baby words they use. Not only phonics, phonics are helpful because it goes individual sounds. And these words, so intentionally, CSD majors, if you have young children, if you have a chance to work with young children, and or even old folks, Alzheimer's, and they lost some stroke and something and language skills, so still, instead of saying just without any tangible, you just like apple, apple, without any, tangible visual stimuli. You just say words or you show each card and then practice. It's much, much better. Okay, much, much better. So we have two methods. Teaching to read is a phonics method and whole word method. These are all classroom teachers do. Phonics method, why do we fail children to read? Because we teach phonics method in wrong way, especially those sounding out part, blending part, individual sound blending part. That is what happens. So remember, we teach early literacy, reading skill is phonics or whole word method. This whole word method, think about that. Newborn babies, 2 months old, 3 months old, 5 months old babies. Do they know about this sound? Do they know about alphabet letter? They don't know, right? You show this one chair, 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 park, spaghetti, watch, jam. What do? They take a shot. It's the same thing like a picture. You say chair, chair, right? Park, spaghetti, jam. It's the same thing to them. It has colors. This one does not have colors. That's why we say whole word method. They just taking they don't know it's a J, A, M. They don't know that. It's just like that shape is a jam. That's how they take a shot in their brain and store and remember while we are repeating. repeating. Okay, that's a whole word method. That's why I said repeat and relearn practice. However, this repeating, I'm gonna explain a little bit later. How to repeat is more important. We are not just have the same culture over and over and make them just like boring. Okay, so again, oral reading. It's all about the phonics whole word. It's all about the fluency, because the fluency gotta be there so they can process, they can understand. Any child read man, they don't get that man. Every man, walk to the park. A man walked to the park. Man. So they have read like a stuttering reading, and then fluency just drops. Fluency dropped, and then comprehension is not there. That's why we all work on fluency. Okay. So again, this is phonics. We teach individual sound, and then many kindergarten teachers whole year, what they do is A through Z, individual sounds, letter names. That's how kindergarten years end. And that is not right. We do not teach individual sound and all finish individual sound, and then we teach blending. No. And you know what sound combinations are, like a TH together, PH together, CH together, SH together, ING together. We call it the sound combinations because it has a one sound, right? So individual sound combination together, we have to teach them how to blend. This is a key. And most of the teachers miss this part. That's why they teach so well. However, they have students, about 20 to 30% of students could not learn to read. Okay, and then regularly sounding and spelled words, that's a phonics, right? And then irregularly spelled sounding words. We have irregularly, many American English, we have many irregularly. We don't go spelling in a letter sequence. British English more, regular. They say water, it's a W-A-T-E-R, so children can hear that, and then spell is a W-A-T-E-R, it's the same. However, we don't say water, we say water. So even we don't know, T is a D or R, right? Water, some people, water. In the beginning, I was very confused. So we have that way pronunciation, we more slur, more just round, not like, and then British English is more like a German language types of, pronunciation. So, those sounds are just correctly comes out. So they have a less difficulties about that part. Okay, so these two, about 80% of, my guessing is 80% of English words are regularly sounding words. So our game is irregularly sounding words is 20%. However, one irregularly sounding word is still 80% of irregularly sounding words still sound regular, make a regular pronunciation. Only one or two spots irregular. Make, it's M-A-K, it's a make. However, ending E is soundless. That's irregular, right? So it's all follow the rules, only one spot like that. Next, I think, this is, I said 12 sound combinations, and then I would say about, here is a 28. It make about, I don't know why I said the 32, 28 individual sounds plus 12, and then it makes 40, right? It has a 40 sound here. These are the, book I use when I teach little children. It's about 40 sound. So regularly sounding words, we teach phonics. It is the same to like mechanically, we teach how to decode. So children learn those rules, and then we have a way more possibility to teach them to read than whole word method. Because whole word method, you cannot show whole dictionary words, vocabularies, right? How far you can go? Do we have any criteria how far we can teach this whole word method? What kind of a word we teach? In the dictionary, how we select those words? Phonics has boundaries. It has just a sound limitations, and children can pronounce all these sounds. It's about 40 sounds. You see sound combinations here, right? All these sound, and then child knows how to blend it. They easily can read. If you have any niece, if you don't have your own child, any niece or anyone, if you have young children, and then use it. As I said before, 3 years older, so I could teach them to read with this book. Okay, with this one. And this book, as I said, it is only around $20 book. This is a new version. Okay, it's a reading mastery, it's a regular version. And the other day, in another class, I even showed the books I didn't bring today. So these are $20 book. And if I even encourage the elementary majors to have a small tutoring groups, and then they can make good money and just help children struggling in school with this literacy, learn to read. And you guys, as just special education teachers, halfway you could practice how to teach, and then the other one you could have some side monies by tutoring with a small group, about 2 children, 3 children in your neighborhood, any children struggling with, learn to read. So these are the books, and this is the Phonics book. Yeah, this Phonics book, I know, do you see this Phonics book? And then it has all, as you see, it's scripted. So it's very comfortable. You don't have to make a lesson plans, what letter you teach next. It is all spiral. So it is already made. And then your own children later, you could teach with this. If you have anyone, your niece and nephews and anyone, just try. It's everything. This red part, red writing is a teacher's role, like acting. You do acting with this book. So in the beginning, you read, and my 429 students will have assignment with this book, and they're gonna go out to classroom and teach 20 lessons with the pre-test and post-test. So they have to practice and taste this one. Because so far in special education, this is the only way we could, teach children to read. To be honest, this is phonics. And this one, they have a limitation because of those intellectual part. Okay, so this is the book, and you, as your resource in Amazon, I checked, and $22, new book, $20, and regular, it's in my downstairs. Regular book is over $1,000, $2,000. It's the same content. This is it's 100 lessons. To last page, last 100 lessons they finished. They are reading at the end of a second grade level. Can you believe that? Second grade level. That's why I'm emphasizing this book for special educators. So you could easily go, and then you can, Emma nodded. She's a CSD major. So easily you could remediate faster way. This is a faster cycle, okay? So please, guys, please save children from reading, and we gotta make, regardless they have whatever disability they have, they must learn to read. Okay, and believe or not, really, honestly, ASD children IQ 40. I don't believe their real IQ is 40. However, their recorded IQ, assessed IQ was 40. They beautifully learned to read, and then they write. So this is another part. You teach it through this phonics. Let me share this again screen. I just copied each lesson 1 to lesson 20. This is Jack. Special ed CI majors will have assignment on this 20 lessons. So first lesson is that's it. It takes about a couple of minutes. That's it. Okay. And second lesson, third lesson, new a sound. However, rest of sound is all same. This we call it a spiral. Okay, chaining, shaping, spiral. And then same. And then E, this is I just touched wrong, so it made a capital. However, this one should be this one. In the middle of class, I touched it, and then, oh my gosh, where is it? I'm sorry, let me see it, it works. Yep. So this E, it's a long E. It has a hyphen on the above. So it doesn't say long E and short E. And then all same. And then look at this. It's not whole kindergarten year. We teach them to just A through Z. About 2, as soon as they learn the A sound, one vowel, and then they start reading a word. Even though it's a meaningless, not, meaningless word, nonsense word, we say it's a nonsense word, right? Say is a nonsense word. So we started teaching blending. This blending, how to teach this blending is a key. Again, all special education children, they learn to individual sound. They can learn individual sounds. However, this blending part, they failed. So look, say fast. What word? Am. Say fast. Say. What word? Say. So you can draw about 3 seconds each one. So I say like here words, right? It's a so say the same. Half of your students will pause between. Most of kindergarten teachers teach what sound? What sound? Say together. Teacher said, what sound? What sound? So say together, am. Many children don't get that. Even I said in the beginning, still half of children said, no, we don't pause, don't stop. We have to continue. Listen again. Your turn. I thought in the beginning, This is the intellectual issues. And then I just thought, and teach. And then I found out this is auditory processing issues. Auditory processing. So what did I do? And I emphasized stress the second one, so they can hear better. It is all my experiment. Listen. Meh, meh. After that, they stopped pausing. They could continue. That's 100% is the auditory part. It's like me, still some of words pronunciation you guys do correctly. My ear could not catch it, and then I pronounced wrong. And today I asked my son, okay, listen, world. Did I say word or W-O-R-L-D, word? Mom, you said word. And then what is a word? He said word. He said word. So when I heard my word, it's a W-O-R-D, I feel like I said the world like a W-O-R-D, globe. So it's all auditory things. It's not our tongue issues. Many times. I'm not saying CSD majors. I'm not saying every single one like that, but a lot of part, the children have some auditory processing issues. And then even though their tongue, oral muscle is ready, still they could not maybe pronounce correctly, articulation part. That's what I found in my teaching with the children with intellectual disabilities. Okay, so look at this. Lesson 12, they are already reading sentence. I don't know, Jenna, your daughter's age. It is amazing to teach with this book to read. This is a bonus. Spelling is a bonus. Most of special education teachers, kindergarten, first grade teachers struggle with the children's spelling so much. Because the spelling, they believe they have to memorize, practice. Spelling is just read and practice. No, you teach it with the phonics, and then you teach a concept of a spelling. This reading is a blending of individual sounds. Spelling is a segmenting of individual sound. No, segmenting of the word. So segmenting sounds of the word. So listen, when I did teach it, about 9, 10 lessons, about this much we have done. And then I started the spelling from here. So they got used to it now, individual sound and all that. And then I started here. I say, okay, ready to write? So let's assume they all have fine motor skills, they can write. And then they know these alphabet. Say, write it. So we start the spelling with the individual sound. So 2 spelling word, spelling sound. Okay, so here is 4. I may give them number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Almost all students write it. They can write. And second spelling, third spelling, these are all 6 spelling, right? Sounds. And then 7, and then 8. How do you do this? This is, again, it's a segmenting of the sounds, right, of the word. So you say same thing, like a blending. This means right. So when I taught in the blending, same way you teach spelling. So they get the concept. They write it. And then you go more, same words are coming over and over, right? And then here, you had the M, and then you have an M here, right? M here. So M comes up. So by this time, around here, what do you say? M. Later, M. They can write it. Me. In the beginning, meet. Meet. And then they write it. And then later on, it comes out about 3, 4, 5 times. Meet, meet, meet. Regular sound. Believe or not, again, ASC girl with IQ 40, I never taught her how to spell. In this way, we did the spelling. She wrote sentences. She could write a sentence. Sunday, what did you do? I ate pizza. She wrote, I ate pizza. So that's the bonus. It's amazing. See, phonics is oral reading, oral articulation, speech articulation, because many children with intellectual disabilities have articulation issues. They have a speech language therapy. Most of over 80–90% of children with disabilities in special education programs, they have a speech language therapy. Okay, so it teaches articulation, and then third, spelling, especially children with intellectual disabilities. Most of children have cognitive deficits, as I said, regardless of what areas. Even learning disabilities, they have a visual perception deficits. That is a part of cognitive deficits, even though their intelligence is numbers right, above the level. So these children can do these 3 things through phonics. And many people may say, okay, phonics is only for the gifted children. No, gifted children, they could learn through just regular children. They learn through this whole word method. Because about 3–4 times they see it, they just automatically memorize it. However, children with cognitive deficits, intellectual disabilities, we must teach this through phonics to read. And then work on what? Comprehension. Okay, so that's this book has this pronunciation. If you guys want to teach your child, your niece, or whoever to practice, I really strongly recommend you guys. And I even told the elementary second grade pre-service teachers to have a small reading group. So like charge $20 and then 3 children in a group, and then $60. And it has it here, and there is a word, and you have to practice a pronunciation, because believe it or not, you are English native speakers, so you know all this, but no, not really. So many of you in elementary school, you may learn from whole language method, not phonics. When you are young, in this country, we didn't actually recommend the phonics much, and many teachers believe phonics is really boring and really kill children's passion in reading and make them struggle. So always we have to remember, children do not have fun from method. They have fun when they find out they can do something well, and then they have fun. Okay, so it's don't forget that. So this is it, and then irregular sounding words. What can we do? How far we can go? And this is a whole word method. What should we do? So we use the flashcard, and this book is a Glenn Doman's. And if you have a niece and whoever, young children, just try it. It's very fun. To be honest, it's amazing to watch children's learning. Those cute little darlings, they learn to read, and then you teach, and then you will find yourself having more fun than these young children. Okay, through their learning. So this book is Glenn Doman's How to Teach Your Baby to Read. It was a halfway cut. Okay, it's not expensive book. It is a very cheap books. However, I can teach you how to do it. What is his method is, because I told you I taught my son with that method from 100 days old. And I'm not sure, how his IQ made, but my husband and I, we are not that smart people, even though we did PhDs. However, how we could struggle with our brain. So I decided to have a, smart boy, no matter what he did. So I read Glenn Doman's book and taught him to read with this flashcard. It is very important. I made this card because number one, it is very hard to find only picture and then only word backside. Our flashcard, everywhere I searched, factory made flashcard, every single flashcard has words here at the corner. Okay, so that's why I end up just making flashcard. So you have a make sets and then I color coded because at least I need 2 sets. So one is, both of them has, picture and word. And then with my little hands, very handful. Easily you can handle. Bigger ones, most of flashcards are long, big. I didn't bring my basement has a therapy, setting. So all my stuff is down there. I didn't bring it up. So these are the very good. And then I use the PowerPoint and then I use the clip art instead of, photo pictures. I use like a hand-drawn types of clip art pictures. It has more cushions for children's, brain. So their imagination wide. Okay, so color coded 2 sets, so I can use it anytime. So Glenn Doman's method, they suggest I used this one is all I used before. So these are index card, the biggest one, and always we modify. I don't know exactly what he said. I just main point, I got that, and then I made my own way. So this, red marker, that's his recommendation to catch children's eyes. So I could understand because it's a visual attention, visual perception. So have this and start with how many? 5 cards. Okay, you see this one, right? I didn't, do, but if you do side by side, half is my screen, share, and the half of my face, and then you could see better. I cannot make that, but you just, you guys can do it. So with these 5 sets, okay? So 5 sets, one set is 5 words. So let's say just one set, because this is new models, I think Glenn Doman's daughter made, but Glenn Doman's method was one set, 5 words. So what do? You start with the words familiar with your child. The child knows, heard it, hear enough. So mom, dad, your child name is Jenna, Jenna, and then daddy's name is Blaze, or just dad. And because mom and dad, they call names, right? And then your sister, the baby's sister name is Emma, and then Emma. It's okay. Just any words, and milk, juice, and, nap, whatever words they know. Park, school. So you don't have to have only nouns, whatever words, even are, the, okay? Any words, morning, any words. See, I haven't just even, over, under. So write this one in school, your own children, and then in school, you have only 5 cards, and then you number all cards. You could have a stack of, I have just a big stack of cards, and then you number it, and then only 5 cards start first. okay? Like this. So flashcard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 cards, okay? And then every day, 3 times a day minimum. Every day, 3 times a month, not once, 3 times a day. And 1 card less than 1 second. So a little bit practice over, moon, this, sing, 8. And then that's it. So when you start your day at school in the morning, you start with it. You could have a 5 or several sets. Like here, it says 5 sets. So you could have a 5 sets. So any empty moment, just several seconds, less than 1 minute you have, and you do it with your whole class. And then individually you can do it. Okay? Whole class you do it, and then you have parents. And I recommend the elementary majors have a parent workshop every month. At the end of a month, beginning of a month. So always invite a whole parent to your classroom. That is one of my regrets. When I taught in the classroom, I didn't do it. Although I called the parents constantly to school, not because of behavioral issues, to give them work with their children. Okay. But I wish I realized that, workshop part. I didn't think about that. But just call the parent to your classroom and explain what you're doing, what you're teaching, and then what kind of things you want your, parents to work with the child at home. Even, simple snack. There is no free snack. Always, even giving snacks, and then you just instead of giving child just snacks or just a sit down child and you scoop it, and then you just scoop one, let's say applesauce, scoop one, and then hold it, one. And then child sees it's a eating time, so waiting, and then mom scoop, and then mom said hold it, and then one, and then child just good, and then feed. So instead of just give the child, this is instruction. This is learning. So it's not we are teaching feeding skills and scooping skills. So use another time for that. Okay. So you have just line of goldfish, and then pick one, and then try to look. Instead of giving bag of goldfish to the child and eat, you just teach parents. Okay, bag of goldfish, and then count each, put on the napkins at the table. So line up all 10 goldfish, and then pick one, and then hold it up, one, and then child look, and then feed to the mouth. This is eye contact. And then you keep doing it later on. One, you hold it, and then inside 1, 2, 3, good. What is that? Sustained eye contact. And you teach sustained attention. So all kinds of way parents play at home, still you feed you feed at school and snack times. You could use all those instructional parts. There is every single moment still teacher can use. You're still doing school routines. However, still you can add there spare teaching. So even no free snack. So that is just like hold, look, and then those parents come to school, you're not going to have any issues with their attention and eye contact. Especially your ASD majors, any of your ASD majors, that's the way you can make eye contact, sustained eye contact. You're not going to have issues with eye contact. I never had issues with eye contact. That is my beginning teaching. Because INSEAD and eye contact is the two things you have to communicate with your student before you start any other teaching. Okay, so intentionally think about those snacks lined up at the table. And the child is very curious. So first time they may just try to snatch it, and impulsivity shows. You just put it, your child, personality, and then one, and put 2, put 3, and then put it into the mouth. So child doesn't have to snatch it. And then first time they may attempt it, and then later they know these are all for theirs, not teachers. I'm gonna eat all those, and then they are not gonna attempt it. It's very patient. Even ADHD, severe ADHD, once they know the rules, all those goldfishes are all mine, and then they know it, and then they are not gonna attempt it. And then that's 100%, I promise. You're not gonna have eye contact issues with them. So that's intentionally we teach these skills and shape it. So they other side, they got up and they work and they make. However, once they sit down to work with a teacher, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna follow directions. So that's the first thing. Since this is a behavior class, this is the first thing we have to teach them: desk behavior, table behavior, work behavior. And then we can teach whatever we want to teach. Beautifully, you could teach. To be honest, the most deficiencies, cognitive deficiencies, visual perception, that's ASD children. However, you work with intellectual disability, you work with ASD children. Intellectual disability is much, much severe in visual perception, visual attention part than ASD children. Once the ASD children, those under sensitivity, those self-engagement, you could bring them out with these activities. And then surprisingly, you will see they are very smart. That's why I said the cognitive potential inside them, because of those ASD characteristics wrap around them, you don't see what they have inside. So you should not judge them, their IQ is 40, really IQ is 40. No, only that much they could show when they got tested. That's why they have IQ 40. However, you gradually open their door, conscious door, you open it, and then bring them out little by little, and then you will see a lot of smart kids inside sleeping, their cognition. So these are the one, you could use. So here it's the same. These are the all how you make. Again, one time you do it and the 5 cards, and then 5 days, and then 6 days. First card is gone, right? And then we added a 6th card. And then every day, 1 card go, all this first card go, and then last card in, first card go, last card in. This is a whole thing every day. Still it's a spiral. Okay, so they're gonna have a same card about 15 to 20 times they will see and hear from you, and then go. So think about that, 2 years older, or just even, non-speaking babies, nonverbal babies, babies speaking age is 18 months. And then 20, around the toddler age, they could speak phrases, some fast ones like short sentences. Once they started speaking, they will all read this card. Until that point, you may just like later on, like me, spread out all cards and then ask child to bring me, over, bring me mom, and then they just go pick because they couldn't speak yet. And you will see those. So far I talked about how to read, right? So learn to read. So through phonics method, and then whole word method, I introduced you because you guys are novice teachers, novice speech language pathologists. Once you started working, so you don't know which one you could start until you have your own method. So these are simple, cheap books. Even you study about these books. And number one, I was so appreciated because I didn't have to make lesson plans every day, what to teach today, what to teach. Why? This one has this reading. Even this program has math as well. Math is amazing to teach. math. It's a connecting math. It's amazing. It's all SRA, that publishing company they have. And I had my students, I know, you could see my screen. These are what I used in my, about 20 years ago in my teaching in elementary school. Still it's good, right? So because this is volume, so I made this. So I give this one, and then I had two children together. One is a little bit better, and the other one is need more practice. These are all for fluency. After I taught phonics, they could read, but still they drag and stutter. So I just used all kinds of these for, one child just watch and the other child just practice reading. I don't have time for that. I had only one paraeducator, and she's from street, not even, regular full-time paraeducators. It was really difficult. So this again, now you teach this, and you just get that. I know some of you are very interested. I know not everyone. I hope everyone, but. And okay, I want to just look at that book. I want to order, okay, $20. And then, okay, that will be my collection, your teacher. So you have a teacher material collection. So I did that a lot when I was in the program to be a teacher. So you buy this book, buy that, and read. It's a Glenn Doman's book. It's just so easy to read. Feel easy. It's like anecdotal book. It's not scholarly writing. Okay, and this one is just a curriculum. It's just the same curriculum over several $1,000. And this author, Engelman, made this book, even having court case he did. I believe he wants parents to teach children to read, so we can reduce reading disorders. Okay, that's what he did. So that expensive book in one book, story included, and then some, work book types of work included here in this, small book. So you have to. So then what can we do about the comprehension? Comprehension is the most challenging one, and we even don't have enough curriculums about it. Okay, so beginning, like I said, this beginning comprehension, we start with what? Object. Because the perceptual process is all about the physical object, right? And then since we see it. So these are all comprehensions. So you do with this picture card or real items, because since you are in special education, we don't have to worry about these general children. They already just observe, and parents take them everywhere, show just bedtime stories, and they do a lot of work. So children's vocabulary. So did I say about those top class and then those welfare class, that difference of vocabulary amount? It is incredible amount of difference. These children come to school, let's say, I don't remember exact numbers, 20,000 vocabularies, same age, 5 or 6 years older, and the educated parents. And then those welfare parents, children, came with like 100, 1,000 vocabularies. That much disparity between two groups. I know, there are a lot of, other debates about it. It is not really like a vocabulary issues, but we could tell, you're very attentive parents. You want your student, your child, everything what you want to show. So you are just hands-on museum and just like regular museums, and then street and stores and bookstores, toy stores. You just show all this. You're very education-oriented parents. These are all comprehension. Later on, it's a matter of they read. And then jam, they read, oh, jam, peanut butter jam. They connect right away, right? So, but our children in special education, most of children may not have that many vocabularies. It could be part of intellectual issues. It's a part of their parents' because they have disabilities. So parents did not attempt to do that much like their other children without disabilities. Many parents have children without disabilities, especially the first child and second child, and they did amazing jobs. However, once they have a child with disabilities, pretty much their all parenting mode change to protection. They protect them instead of teaching them more, exposure them more, so they can have a speed up more. No, once they find it, they have disabilities, and then pretty much parents. That's why many children with disabilities come to school. They have a lack of vocabulary. So we have to intentionally use this card with the picture card and teach them in the beginning, just regular picture vocabularies. Okay, and then later, what do we do? Matching with a real gem. Where is gem? So matching with the words and this. And it's the same, like you can use Glendoman's method every day. You could use a PowerPoint and a whole class you show, and then in the one-to-one or small groups, you give out, spread out, what's this? Jam. Watch, you put it on the table, about 5, 6, or 10 cards, and then you say jam, and then put it under jam picture. French fries, put under French fries, and then towel, give it to the child. And then child will put it under the towel because they know the picture. Okay, give it to the child. Fish, and then give it to the child, and then child will find the fish picture and then put it under there. Child doesn't know these words yet. However, you repeat in this way, and then you say fish, and then child pick up, and then you tap a word, fish, and then child will pick it up, give it to you, and then watch, and then you tap, and then child will give it to you. From then, lamp, and then child pick up lamp. Why? Because they have a picture above lamp, so they know what lamp is. And then next time, you do word first, and then give the picture, park. What's this? Park. And then find the park, and then put the picture on the park. Of course, child may not know it. You tap the park, P-A-R-K, and then child will put it there. So without giving any stress, just play with the children like this. And then this is a whole word method and matching with word and picture. Okay, so this is how you teach it, and then later on with this picture we do all comprehension, how to speak, how to write, and once they learn, and this is a word representative what I did. This is onset rhyme writing. So you give child by this time, they can spell. As I said, they learned through phonics. They can write now. So it's a and then you write A-T. So mat, and then you write A-N as a man, and then write it, and the next one write it. So 2 you did, and then write it, and then they mat. Mom, they write O-M, mom. So they have to think, brainstorm. It's amazing how they, I just like, with the ASD children, I made 20, 30 M's. I was shocked. I even didn't know they have that many vocabularies in their head. And they just think, and then they wrote think. And then one point, they just used or math, a person's name. And then I just like, okay, yeah, it's good. And then there you go. All person's name with starting with M is all there. So I said, okay, no person's name, no person's name. So, and then first letters and just A, T, and just play with it. That's a spelling practice as well. and then their head and see how many words they have, you will see it. And then believe or not, you will be surprised. Okay. This is the sentence. I believe I said this one before. Do you remember, with the word, it's like attribute and function, and then use how to operate. That's connected to the meaning and comprehension eventually. So you show apple, you show this, it's a lamp, right? In the beginning, you started with a picture. So I turned on lamp. Lamp is turned on and then you have a light, right? So we go by the function. You show, most of children will say, I wear a watch. I wear a watch. I say, no, I read the time. I read the watch. I read the time. Watch is for time. Okay. So you go with attribute. That is visual attention level, sensory level. The functional level is a processing, perceptual processing level. It's a much higher level. It's like around 5 years old, 6 years older level. So you show, what is this? Towel. What do you do with a towel? You ask always. If you work with the children right now as a ABA, technician or something, just go try. And then you ask, what do you do with a towel? And I dry. Instead of say, towel is pink. Towel is in the bathroom. We say, I dry with a towel. What is this? Spaghetti. What do you do with the spaghetti? I eat spaghetti. Right? Spaghetti is for eating. That's how you start a sentence. So you speak, and then, so what do you do with the towel? I dry with a towel. Write it. So they said, I dry with a towel, and then they write. So speak, write. These, you gotta start with the function, not just like how spaghetti is red, spaghetti made with noodles. It doesn't help. Because later on, when they make a story, write a story, speak a story, you go with the function and then they can make a story. So what do you do with the spaghetti? I ate spaghetti. And then what did you do? I watched the TV. And then what did you do? I went out to the park. And then what did you do? I played at the park with my friends. So they comes out. You just ask prompt, and then you give two pictures together, even though it's like nothing related, right? Two pictures together. What do you do with this towel? I tried with a towel. What did you do with the spaghetti? I ate spaghetti. So say, and then they say, I took a shower, dried with a towel, and ate spaghetti for dinner. They will say it. So two pictures make them speak. So creative writing, creative speaking. In special education, that's what we teach. Okay, so this is, and then later, one more. And then I took a shower. And then they don't have to even dry a towel. I took a shower, ate spaghetti, and went to the park, play. That's how they extend. Many teachers teach writing, just like, just write about what you did last night. What did you do on Sunday? Write about it. You barely have any sentences because you never brainstorm them so they can think. So these are all prompts what you give, and then one card, one sentence, and then two cards, two sentences, three cards, three sentences. Okay, that's how you extend. And then once you have a sentence, they read, they don't know how to answer. So what do? You have a strip, you have a sentence strip somewhere here. You have a sentence strip. So one sentence, you wrote it. It's one sentence, and then two sentences. Let's say, I went to the park with my mom. That's the sentence. And then they read, and then who went to the park? I went to the park. My mom and I went to the park. Where did you go? I went to the park. What did you do? So that's how they already have those sentences. They see it, they answer it. So question and answer, these are all comprehension, right? We read them, just one sentence, do it, and then two sentences, three sentence strips, four sentence strips. You increase the amount, and then later they two sentence strips, and then they have to find the two sentences, and then they answer. Answer is there, they find. And then three sentence, three strips, four sentence strips. That's how they go. And then later on, they even you give a sentence and then they draw. So it tells they understood. That's a comprehensions, right? So it looks like, you guys have enough. I see your face. Okay, how long more? It's this is what diagnostic, curriculums I'm developing. I already have all those. I just don't have an instrument and just for classroom use because I need a publisher to do it. So these are the all stage numbers I have. Okay, so pretty much what I explained is all these pictures. This is how we start in the beginning, this comprehension, and then move on, and then they have this is what I meant. Do you see this sentence? So in the beginning, sled, and then what is this? A sled. What do you do with the sled? And then I rode a sled. Write it. What is this? A pie. What do you do with the pie? I ate a pie. So you wrote one sentence. This is how we start after teaching those spelling through phonics. Okay. And then with these pictures, so my family, they could say ate spaghetti and then went to the park. So they can make and make a story. And then look at this. This is a blank card. And then this is a towel, and then jam, and then blank card. So they practice this a lot, and then they can feel this one. Now creative writing. So they can add this section. And then took a shower, dry it, and then made a peanut butter sandwich with a jam, and then went to the park. So they don't have a park picture, but they can say it now. Practice. And then one, 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 one. Okay. So that's how we do. So pretty much as I showed you this before, it's all inputs, process, and outputs. Inputs, they listen, right? You are listening right now, and then I ask a question, and then Jenna previously answered, right? So listen, and then comprehend my question, and then speak, answer verbally, answer drawing, picture, answer in writing, answer in acting. So these are all outputs. These rules we are teaching. And see, like you saw a picture, comprehend, and then you can speak. We teach children, speak, say first, and then draw, and then write, and act. If a child, and later on, we just about the comprehension, pantomime, we just teach that way. So they show, and then later they can make a story, their own story, and then they show with the gestures. So we increase the comprehensions like that. And then read, of course, and then watch. What's the difference with see and watch? See is just like a simply see, right? However, watching is like a sit at the playground and they just watch other children's play, and then they can write a story, what they watched. And then in the beginning, teacher said, what is that boy do? What is that boy doing? And how about that boy, that girl? Point, and then they say it, write it. They say it, write it. They say it, write it. So they see real people's living scenes, and then they write. And then they come to the classroom. And then what did you see in the playground? And then they could write a whole what they watched. Okay. So later on, even ASD children, I had fun. Oh my gosh. What is that? I had fun. That is a emotional feeling. It's very hard to see from ASD children's description. So we waited for that. They go play for 10 minutes and then they come and then what did you do? And then you intentionally hold the child's hand and go to the principal's office and then go to the library and then go to the bathroom and then come back. And then each time go to the principal's office. Where did you go? I went to the principal's office. Good. And then where did you go? I went to the library. And then where did you go? I went to the bathroom. And then what did you do? I came to my classroom. And then 4 sentences they write. And then they draw a picture about it. That's how we gradually increase their comprehension skills. Okay? Make sense? I'm very excited. You guys just go out and teach it. And then I really hope you guys have those excitement. And it is very exciting. You chose this teaching profession and CSD. I know you guys, like Anna, you said you want to work in the group home or nursing home. Yeah, settings. So still, all the folks are like children. I see that we are born as a baby and we grow up and we live and then we are main character, we live and then we get old, we are becoming baby again. Losing language, losing our motor skills, and then pretty much you are all just done and then you go, you finish your life. So it's the same, we are going all curves, so up and then going down, bell curve, our life is like that too. So this is all I have today. I know it's a lot to digest. Very quickly I talked. It's almost like a semester amount of, sharing I did. And I know it's a classroom behavior management. She talks about teaching a lot. And as I said, my rationale is children do what they can do, what teacher asked to do, and then no behavior issues. So they just cannot follow what teacher does. It's not only behavior, emotional part. Still emotional part is still, they shaped in that way by adults. Okay. I'm gonna turn off the camera, not camera, but